Howdy, it's another week in the For Your Reference household, and we're starting off with Quid Pro Mo. We most recently featured on the We Are the Watchers podcast. Shout out to our pals Leah and Tom. We'll put a link in the show notes so you can check out their podcast. Also, another shout out to Anime Nerd. We will feature on a future episode. Take the promo away.
We Are the Watchers podcast is all about watching stuff. We love the fact that there's so many TV shows and movies out there, but understand there's only so many hours in the day for people to check them all out. That's why me, Leah, and Tom have volunteered as tributes to go to great lengths to find the cream of the crop, top-notch watching suggestions for you. We Are the Watchers, available where you get your podcasts from.
Hello, friends and lovers. Welcome back to the For Your Reference podcast. You've got your host, KT.
And Doti.
And keep your unstable creatures in check, because it's all about the guns and butter, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, indeed. We are covering the 2001 Baby Boy.
You're just a baby boy.
OT's the real McCoy.
You know it.
So let's just quickly get into the stats. John Singleton, may he rest in forever love and peace.
Oh, love him.
Director, writer. I definitely want to have a love fest about John Singleton, whether we do that now or just throughout the series. A fucking legend.
He really is, isn't he?
Just so great in every way.
Mm.
There's definitely the greats out there. There's definitely the lesser known that are out there. But John Singleton definitely deserves all of the love and all of the praise. And his work is forever immortalized in film.
Oh, agreed.
And also in
100%.
TV series with Snowfall most recently. And how dare us not even cover Snowfall yet?
We'll definitely cover it, I'm sure. Maybe.
Oh, yeah, we'll definitely cover it. But yeah, so definitely much love and respect to John Singleton, and I do hope we continue the splooshes.
Yeah, and I really like the way he covers the sort of themes in his movies.
Yeah, there was depth and there was dimension beyond the struggles of the characters. You know, you talk about Baby Boy, you talk about Poetic Justice, Boys in the Hood, and again, most recently was Snowfall. Amazing. And also Four Brothers on some level, I guess. Maybe that's an excuse to rewatch it again. But, you know, when you think about the classics.
Yeah,
Boys in the Hood. I guess
it's
Baby
not comparable.
Boy. Yeah, right? Like, I shouldn't diss one from the other, but I'm just saying, like, up with the greats. So, again, love John Singleton and his works. And I'm glad we can continue to, you know, the work can live on in podcast episodes.
Oh, yeah.
However small and loving they may be. Let's just quickly go over the cast. We have Tyrese Gibson.
Mm-hmm.
Usually we just rattle off the cast, but I need to say something. You know, recently with the Fast and the Furious franchise, you know, Tyrese kind of, not necessarily cancelled, but he kind of digged his own little hole. With all of his live streams and that sort of stuff. But man, talking about the Four Brothers, what can a Tyrese do for me? Nada. He can do nada to me. But I guess we'll leave it for the first impressions. But we have Tyrese Gibson, Taraji P. Henson, Ving Rhames, and also Snoop Dogg because he's on the cover. So we might as well mention him as well. So let's quickly dive into our first impressions of the movie.
Do you want to start this time?
Oh, look at you.
Yep.
So I guess continuing along the theme of Katie hasn't watched any fucking thing. I've never watched Baby Boy.
Oh, shock.
Shock. I don't know why I never watched it. I just never did.
Well, there are a lot of other things that I'm more surprised you haven't watched other than Baby Boy.
Speaking of, go and listen to our Godfather episode. I knew it was there, but I never really watched it. I didn't even know what it was about, really. I guess I know now. Watching the movie, there's so much layers, there's so much to unpack in this cute little 2 hours and 10 minutes, and we're definitely going to get into it. But Jodie is a fucking problem. He is a fucking problem. Yes, I watched it in 2020, but even when it came out in 2001, you were too fucking old, man. Like, I thought maybe he was kind of still in high school, on his way out of high school, but he was a whole 20 years old.
No, he was a grown man then.
Right. So let's I guess we can talk about it when we actually talk about the film, but how you gonna act like that? Come on, Tyrese, what are you doing to me? I fucking loved Tyrese before this. Can I just say?
Oh yeah.
I never thought Tyrese whispering "I promise" between a woman's legs would get me angry. But fucking hell.
That scene. Oh, we'll get to that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's definitely a lot to talk about in this fucking movie. But do you want to go with your first impressions, OT? And specifically what I want to know is, so this came out in 2001. I want to know when you watched it. Obviously, you watched it when you were in Kenya. What was the phenomenon like? And did it change watching it in 2020?
Yeah, so this is my second time watching it.
Second only?
Yeah, second only.
You talk about black tax a lot, but I feel like you should have watched it way more than that then.
Yeah, I watched it back then when it came out, and rewatching it today, I couldn't understand why the hell my fucking parents let me watch this movie.
You watched this with your family?
Yeah, it was like a Saturday night movie or some shit.
Yikes. Friends and lovers, if you have been listeners of our podcast for a while, especially in the earlier episodes, I would joke about, OT's family being too familiar and watching Tip Drill together. So just know that my jokes are founded in truth.
But I don't know. All I remember is I really didn't like Marvin. I didn't understand why it was all up in Jodie's grill. Do people still say that?
I think they do. They definitely said it in 2001, so you're safe.
Yeah, that's the reference I was talking about.
Vomit.
But it's rewatching it is just, I was more intrigued by your reactions to Jodie than it just shocked me that I couldn't remember him being such a bloody scrub.
Yeah, like without any reference of being in or visiting America, I feel like Jodie was the definition of a scrub. But he wasn't sitting in the passenger's ride of his best friend's ride. He was sitting in his girlfriend's ride. Mm-hmm. Jesus.
Yeah, and I think I really didn't understand it when I watched it.
Because it was just a movie. It was just a movie to watch.
It was just a movie to watch, and I think it was a bit too deep in what it tried to send as a message to society.
He was literally in a womb.
Yeah,
in a whole womb.
Like it's really deep. It goes beyond surface level, and that's something that I completely missed the first time. And rewatching it, it gave me heavy Boys in the Hood vibes.
Nice.
And
I was gonna say, I wonder if a change in actor would change my mind about Jodie. I think I would have liked to see Morris Chestnut in this role.
Nah.
Tupac was also in mind for this, but unfortunately he passed away before it. John Singleton had him in mind. That's why you have that big mural of Tupac. And you have the Illuminati all up in your body.
Tupac would have done well in this.
I really wonder. Sometimes we wonder, if a different actor did it, would we feel a different way? I don't know about Juice Tupac.
I love Juice Tupac. You know what the difference is? I think Tyrese comes off more as, he doesn't look like, he just seems a bit too whiny and...
Yeah, but that's what a baby boy would be.
Yeah, that's what a baby boy would be. And maybe he did it too perfectly because Tupac couldn't portray necessarily that vibe.
He would have brought a toughness to it.
He would have brought a toughness to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the difference is, because Tyrese really does get into your, under your skin and really just fucking pieces you off. And I don't think any other actor, at least not Tupac, would have done that.
The first role that I ever saw Tyrese Gibson acting, because I never watched Fast and the Furious, so the first role I actually saw him in was with Josh Duhamel in Transformers. And I wish that was the first. I wish that was the first and last role that I saw Tyrese act in. I fucking love him as a singer.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was weird to have him in this role. I don't think there would be anyone that would give me redeeming qualities because Jodie was a fucking baby boy.
Jodie,
in every way. But yeah, Tyrese, I don't know. But we love you, Tyrese. But I don't know.
Agreed. And I think this movie is really underrated in my opinion.
Really?
I really think so. I feel like it needs to get more sort of recognition for what it does and what it tries to say than it actually...
The messaging.
The messaging. And the acting. I think this is one of the best Taraji Taraji's walk to date.
Oh yes, this was like Cookie 0.1.
Nah, Cookie level is crap. I think Taraji just got I think she got too big, and I don't know what she's doing in Empire. That's just some really.
Yeah, but that's more Empire. That's more Empire than her, really.
But this movie, I think this is just where Taraji is shot off.
It looks like it's one of her first film roles as well. It says she was in a TV movie called Satan's School for Girls. How's Satan?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Preferably?
Yeah, preferably. Just a role.
Sweet pea, preferably.
I know.
Taraji did very well. She did very well in this movie, and I felt all of the feels that I needed to feel with her. But let's finish off with your first impressions. This came out in 2001. Did you watch it in 2001? Was it big in Kenya?
It was big in Kenya, and I did watch it in 2001. And I told you, my frame of reference back then was just, I loved Tyrese. I loved his music, and I just was there for him, to be honest.
Because he had already had his music career going at this point, right?
Yeah, and this is even before I watched Boys in the Hood. So me rewatching it this time, and I'm like, ooh,
interesting, right?
Interesting,
very interesting.
Yeah, you could definitely tell this is John Singleton's work.
Oh, and it's so sweet because we were talking about, because when you see like California, you think like the big palm trees, and I immediately thought of Snowfall. I know that's a stupid thing to say, but I did. And looking at Sweet Pea, he reminded me of Franklin's best friend Leon in Snowfall as well. But let's go back. So it was big in Kenya. You watched it pretty much at the time. How did it feel watching it again?
Oh, it felt completely different. I think I enjoyed it in such a deep level.
Right.
Yeah. And
after being through some shit, after living through some shit.
Exactly. And Jody didn't bother me as much as he did.
Oh, fuck off. He can fuck himself off with a 10-foot pole.
No, he was crap. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that he was... It just didn't bother me as much, but I enjoyed it. I really did. And seeing Omar Gooding hanging with Mr. Cooper was so big. And I loved him as Arvin. And then, what was it? Was it Smart Guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Taraji was on there as well.
I didn't really know Taraji back then. So it was just Tyrese, Omar Gooding, and You Had Me.
And Snoop.
For some reason, it wasn't marketed as that. Like,
but he's on the actual poster. Omar Gooding's not on the poster.
I seem like I missed that poster back then.
Yeah, like the bootleg, like the DVDs that were... By the way, John Singleton had a cameo, so maybe John Singleton was selling them in Kenya.
Yeah, maybe.
For like 5 shillings.
Yeah, knowing exactly how his movie will be distributed.
Damn, dog. That's some Boondock shit right there. But... what a movie. Like you mentioned, there were definitely a lot of layers in the movie as well. And I definitely want us to talk through that as well. It was interesting. It was interesting the way they were able to balance light and also shade, especially throughout. I wouldn't even say that Jodie had character development in this movie. The moments that I had joy when Jodie was on scene was the actually handful amounts of comeuppance he got through the movie, because a lot of the time you'll be watching the protagonist talk shit, do shit, and they don't get hit. But in this case, Jodie got his comeuppance quite a few times, and I definitely enjoyed that. But let's start off with the opening scene. I think Jodie was mentioning some sort of psychotherapist. I don't know if he said that he went to one, or if he read about one, or if he was reading about one. And they talked about how men kind of aren't men, and they don't really grow into full capacity. They call their partners mamas. They call their friends
boys.
And where do they sleep?
The crib.
So there's definitely, some parallels that we have that we know is being set up, and it's going to be exemplified through the movie. And I guess one of the interesting things is, yes, the messaging, but also the way that you decide to package it and, filter it out through the movie. It wasn't done in a very subtle way. It was quite... It was quite on surface, which there's nothing wrong with that. It kind of felt like I was watching like a National Geographic dissertation about African American men and their shortcomings. Ergo through Jodie specifically. But it was interesting to see that, because maybe, I wouldn't even say maybe, it was a lot of shock value.
Yeah.
Because what movies did you have in 2001 of a whole ass chocolatey ass Tyrese Gibson in a womb?
Oh yeah.
Right? And I'll just say, Ving Rhames isn't the only one that wanted to lick Tyrese and call him chocolate.
Chocolate bitch.
And then he like licked the mother right after.
Oh, yeah.
We just got so excited. Spoiler, by the way. We don't film shame, and we also don't kink shame, and those might be the same things. Even though OT likes to shame me, but that's a different story.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, so spoilers. But it was interesting. It was interesting to see that, and I like that it didn't forget what the core messaging was of this movie. We continued to go back to that base.
Oh, yeah.
Throughout the film. There was a lot of talk about him wanting to protect his mother, but it was made very clear that his mum didn't need protecting. So I personally felt like he was using that as a crutch for him to stay in this limbo sort of state where he's no longer a kid that relies on his mum or should rely on his mum. And he's also not fully fledged into adult life. And I think that was really contrasted when he got beat up by those kids. Because those kids were still in school, right? You could tell they were still in school. Yeah. They were just being young, dumb kids, right? Hanging outside of the liquor store, boosting the Alizé. Oh, Alizé. Oh, those are some those are some fucking memories. But that's not for this podcast. But his trajectory wasn't much different than those high school kids.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you can fuck a pussy, but what does that mean? That means nothing. You are not a man by any means, by any ilk.
Yeah, true. And I think that's the revenge that didn't really feel sweet for him. And he sort of realized that, what the fuck am I doing here? This is just kids, especially seeing P beating up a kid with his belt. Man, that's just
but he wanted those kids to feel hurt because he was so ashamed of himself.
Up until when he saw what he was doing and realized.
But like he's a 20-year-old man. Like I get that those
people
kids
can have moments of self-reflection and see in that moment.
Yeah, but already at that point, like the fact that you ran after these little kids to go and bash them and you knew that Sweet Pea was that sort of guy and he was going to go all the way. I'm sorry, that's too late. There were so many instances with Jodie's character where I'm like, you're fucking trash. Stop. Even our best friend Melvin was saying, stop blaming everyone for your fucking problems.
Yeah.
I love bad bitches. That's my fucking problem. Right? And the baddest bitch was Jodie. But it's interesting. I guess the reason why I have so much scorn and disdain for Jodie as a character is because I would never want a fucking man like that, ever. And I think that's why that bothered me, because you see Yvette really struggling, right? And you also have Jodie's other baby mama that was struggling as well, just trying to figure out when they can exist in Jodie's life.
And I think solely, there's just some unresolved stuff with Jodie's psyche.
You think so?
He keeps on bringing up his brother who was chased away from home or who was kicked out of home.
Yeah.
As well, that at least his perception of what the mom did.
Mm-hmm.
And he keeps on likening it to him being pushed out of home and then dying.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to be that, and he didn't want to make the mom go through that.
Mm-hmm. So
he felt like sort of, I have to stay home. I have to be close to my mother. I have to sort of protect her, because at least I think from the effects of losing a kid and how he probably saw the mom suffering, he just wanted to stay close, and you can't really blame him for that.
Yeah, but it goes further than that. It goes further than that in the case where, you can look out for your mom, but you don't need to ask her in detail where and what she's going to be doing on a date.
No, that's a different level.
That is some reverse Norman Bates shit, right?
Yep.
Sometimes as humans, we're all fallible creatures, but sometimes we also don't want to face the shit that we've got going on, right? So I really feel like in a lot of cases, yes, Jodie cared about his mum, but I feel like he used that as an excuse and he blamed her for any lack of progress that he might have had in his life when it was all him.
Yeah, maybe so.
No, okay. So Judge OT, let me bring Exhibit A to the court. He keeps talking about how he doesn't want Melvin to take advantage of his mum, how he doesn't want his mum to get abused or to get hit. Yet he becomes the very thing that he doesn't want his mum to be subjected to. And even later on in the movie, the mum was like, you're doing the same fucking thing that your father did to me. So how much of it is him caring about the mum? And how much of it is him trying to find an excuse for his sense of failure? It's also my sense of failure. There's so many instances in this movie where I'm like, you're fucked. Because we also have Snoop's character, Rodney, who apparently he had Ice Cube in mind. Ooh. I don't think I could see Ice Cube doing that. Maybe Ice-T. But I don't think I could see Ice Cube trying to take advantage of Taraji with the kid there. Not to say I could see Snoop doing that, but
I know what you mean.
Right?
Yeah. The sleaziness look of it all.
Let's just keep the "Are we there yet?" for Ice Cube, right? Because I'm sure Ice-T fucks Coco with all the dogs around.
Oh yeah.
The actual dogs. But you know what I mean? Like, there are so many instances, and when we have Rodney calling from jail and he's literally saying everything to Jodie, being like, you know, you still live at your mama's house and all this sort of shit. And when Jodie hung up, he's like, why are you telling him my business? And you know, so many instances through the movie, he'll be talking about, this is my car, when it literally was not. You know what I mean? And he'll be like, this is my house, this is my telephone line. None of that was fucking yours.
Oh yeah, he's entitled as shit, but I just think that Jodie could have used some therapy. That's all.
Yes.
Because he's clearly he's suffered a bit.
When did you come to that conclusion? When it was the opening sequence, when he was imagining himself in the womb? And that's funny, because we were talking about when we were watching the movie, when we have Melvin and the mom like making out in the hallway and they're full rubbing up on each other. And you're like, what the fuck? And I'm like, mate, this is their house. They can do whatever the fuck they want. The weird thing is that Tyrese's ass is still in there. That's the weird part. I don't get it. It didn't even seem like he was going through some inner sort of conflict. It just seemed like he was just coasting by on life. And he would have continued to just live that way if no one actually challenged him.
Maybe so.
Because you can slide in some pussy. You can have a baby, but that doesn't make you an adult. And that was made quite clear. Like, even when he was in the garden with his mom later on in the movie, he was like, you know, I buy groceries when I'm there. I replace the engine. And, you know, he says all of this stuff, but really it's all self-serving to you anyway.
Yeah, to a point though. Where
he barely does a bare minimum and he wants a fucking parade. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not wrong. You're
Tell me.
You're not wrong. I think I'm just coming from an angle where I know his crap, but he's a flawed dude trying to find his way.
Yeah, but why do people have to get hurt? Why do people have to be confused in the process of him figuring his shit out? That's where I'm coming from.
That's why I think it's a bit more nuanced than that, because...
Oh, fuck off. That is a big Succession fuck off.
Because we get Jodie, who has his problems, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's very clear that John Singleton is saying, you know, this guy.
Don't bring my man John Singleton into this.
This guy is lazy as. The reason he's not working is because hasn't gone out there to get a job and all that. But I think there's an undertone as well. There's an overall undertone of societal problems that affect people like Jodie and his you know, and the sort of economic support for a black young person in what, South Coast LA?
In California.
Yeah. So it's, I don't know. Like, I get it. I get Jodie is not the best sort of person. He's lazy as. But there's some underlying issues as well for him to be able to go out there and get a job and get a second chance. Because we know it's tough for Melvin.
You thought that was his second chance? He has gotten many chances, my love.
Because we know he's a parolee, right?
Yeah.
So he's been in the system.
Mm-hmm.
And...
Don't you dare make this about some systemic sort of incarceration. Who do you think you are, John O.T. Oliver?
No, he's the master of his own...
O.T. Duvernay?
No, don't get me wrong. He is solely responsible for his failures up until now.
I think you got yourself wrong, but anyway.
But there are other sort of issues that overlay.
There are many men that you can take defense for, and I don't think you need to do that for Jodie. Because for as much as you can give him graces, he hurt so many people along the way, and I don't think that was fair. Let's talk a bit about my best friend Melvin.
Mm-hmm.
I call him my best friend because I am watching this as a whole woman, not as a teenager. Because I think if I watched this as a teenager, I probably would have been scared of Melvin. But you know, if I didn't have OT and I walked into the kitchen and you know, Ving Rhames was making me breakfast, I would have a good time. That's all I'm going to say. But I understood and I resonated and I related to a lot of what Melvin's character was saying. I do want to say that there were references to his past, that, he was potentially also incarcerated as well, if you want to defend him, OT. And, they were hinting at him abusing his previous partners. So definitely don't condone that. But I am going to speak within the realms of the film. So I'm not really going to focus on that. So as far as I understand, Mel was a great guy. Okay. He could dick you down. What was that? The African squat?
African squat. You'll have to try it.
Yeah, we don't have an OnlyFans, unfortunately, so you'll just have to imagine it. But he was talking some real shit, right? And what really bothered me about Jody is he would run his mouth off way too much. And he made the mistake more than one time. Like, you would think that if he made the mistake once, trying to step up to Melvin, that he wouldn't do it again. Yeah. But he kept doing it.
Yeah, he kept doing it because he felt he was responsible for trying to protect his mom.
No, but if you wanna step non-toxically in 2020 as a man to Melvin, then you also need to be prepared if he's about to whoop your ass.
And non-toxically.
Well, there was a lot of telling Tyrese to be a man and grow up. And in 2020, I quietly agreed. But to the point of him being a fully functional adult, not toxically a man.
Wow. All right. I hear you, but I think we're just coming from completely different angles on this.
Okay. Because
in as much as Melvin was changing his life, and they were showing us that incarceration doesn't really prevent you from having a life outside of, not making a life for yourself, because he's clearly started his own business. He's successful. Yep. He's trying to, get his life in order. And that's not an excuse Tyrese can use because he's on parole.
No, but like my point is, for all of his shortcomings, you could see that Melvin, when he said something, he meant it, right? Jody didn't know shit. And he would say some big man things non-toxically in 2020. He would say some big man things and he would be shocked when he got a big man non-toxically in 2020 response from Melvin.
True, but this is all on precedent though, on past sort of behavior or sort of past history from how the mom was treated by either her previous boyfriends or how her mom was treated by
how about
Jody's
he focus
dad.
on the way that he's treating Yvette? How about that?
Well, that comes later.
How about he focus on the fact that he's got 2 baby mamas and he's like, I love you. You're going to be my wife. I got hoes. I fucked them. I don't lie to you because I love you.
That's the only example of a man he's had his whole life.
Oh, piss off. He's 20 years old. No. He is too old to be playing that card.
Fair enough. Yeah, that was a stretch for me saying it as well.
He talks about his mom not wanting to be subjected to shitty ass men, and he is that. He embodies that. He had the Trojans in Yvette's car. It wasn't even his fucking car. And he was fucking the baby mama in the backseat of the Trojan. And I'm pretty sure that's a TLC song that never got released.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, remember when they're arguing?
Oh, yeah, well.
No. Remember when they're arguing with the mama and he said, don't call me again when he starts beating you up. Meaning there was an instance where, like...
That's a very 5-year-old thing to say. I will point you to later on in the movie where... he gets his ass beat by Melvin and he says, I'm going to leave. And then Melvin's like, I'll leave. And then he's like, yeah, leave the house, you bitch. You know what I mean? Like, he's that kid that didn't learn his lesson, that had a big mouth and didn't shut his fucking mouth, right? But in any case, and then he was trying to be this big manly man. And then he got his fucking bike. On your bike, mate. And he's like, if anything happens to me, it will be your fault. What the fuck is that shit? How old are you?
It feels like that's Arturo in the hood.
La Casa de Baby Boy.
Yeah.
Listen to our Money Heist episodes. It's a trilogy. Friends and Lovers. You will fucking love it. But there's definitely Arturo in there, just as hateable as Jody. But I don't know. I'm all about accountability. I am all about owning who you are. I do understand that if you don't deal with your real life shit, it's going to project itself. It's going to manifest itself in even ways that you don't realize. I fucking get that. I understand that, right? I even understood that at the age of 20. Don't force your shit on other people. Don't guilt your mother. right? Because apparently you're doing it for the best of the mother. And all of this shit that you're saying, I will take you to where the mum was like, when have you ever paid a bill around here? When have you ever fixed anything in this fucking house?
No, when's the last time you paid a bill? Meaning there was a time he paid an actual bill.
Was Jodie Kenyan? You've got an answer for everything, my love.
Just staying true to the true baby boy hive out there.
The Jodies from Baby Boy, the Lawrences from Insecure, stop defending shitty black men.
That's what society wants to make you think, mate.
Direct your powers somewhere else, my angel.
Oh, but Ving Rhames, man, he's been in a lot of shit.
Oh yeah,
he's been in a lot.
Pulp Fiction too.
He's just great in everything he does. So effortless.
I haven't looked up, nor will I want to ruin the fantasy of whether that was his real backside, if you'll pardon the pun, or not. But I'm just gonna believe that was him.
If you pardon the bun.
Vomit. You are a beautiful person in any way, but your lack of humor kind of undoes all of that.
She said while laughing.
Out of pity. Out of hoping to get lucky. But I guess the parallels that I wanted to draw between Melvin and also Jodie was that, son, they were not the same people. And that's what Melvin said, because, you know, and even when we saw the TV, which I think was in like the first third of the movie, you know, Melvin was saying how he got the TV and he got it for free from someone that he was just casually killed for. Just like beat up these people for, you know, it's not a worry, no worries. That's how I got the TV. But you could see that he wasn't messing around. You know what I mean? And until proven guilty, he didn't hit the mom. So all of this, like, I'm trying to protect you is all undone by him being like, oh, if something happens to me, it's your fault. Right? How is that a measured response? And then you have later on in the movie, when they're in the mother's garden, with some Oedipus, in the Oedipus garden, you know, Jodie was like, I'm a grown man. And I'm like, yeah, for 2 minutes. For 2 minutes of a 2-hour, 10-minute movie, you're a grown man. And he says he found a new spot. Nah, you're squatting at your girlfriend's house.
No, you usually bombard movies that don't have character growth. Here, we get character growth tenfolds.
We got catheter growth, yeah.
we get character growth from Jodie and P.
I disagree.
And even to some extent Yvette.
You want to... That's not fair. She was her whole self the whole time. She just waited for these boys to grow up. Now, that is a sequel. That is a sequel that I'll be into.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. Let's go back to Sweet Pea. You talk about Sweet Pea having any sort of character development. I will point you to Tracy Jordan from 30 Rock saying he needs to find a religion before something happens, otherwise it looks suspicious. Okay? Drop all the mics. Go and watch The Last OG, because we'll cover it eventually. Nah, because even when Sweet Pea was talking to Jodie about getting baptized, Jodie was like, how bad did you mess up that you want to like be, you know, born again, right? But yeah, you could see that Sweet Pea had some tendencies, and I guess both of them were trying to figure it out. They were both baby boys in many ways.
Oh yeah, agreed. And at least we see at the end where Sweet Pea does get baptized. So you're assuming he's leaving all his life of crime behind for him trying to be a better person. And you saw that he struggled. He struggled to find his way or find his lane, what he's really good at, or necessarily anything he's good at.
I'm going to be that woman right now. You can call me an unstable creature if you'd like, but I'm going to be that woman right now. The parallels that we have between Jodie and also Sweet Pea are males being unable to function in a society where they're not thriving. What do you mean by that, oh, Professor Katie? Well, dear listener, I will tell you exactly what that means. And let's focus on Sweet Pea. Sweet Pea was with Kim, and he was living with Kim and Kim's mum, right? And we see him arguing with Kim and the mum, even when Jodie comes over. And a lot of that is fucking projection, because he felt like less of a man, because he wasn't bringing in money, because he had to rely on them. So he was okay accepting the new clothes, and I don't know if they said Nintendo, or it was some sort of gaming console, right? He was fine accepting that, but inside you knew that he felt, toxically or not, less of a man,
Yeah, because he had
But
to.
why did Kim, his girlfriend, not even the stranger, why did Kim, his girlfriend, and the mom have to deal with his lack of inequity? That's not fair, right? And
Sometimes you just have to give people a rope. You know, just give them the space to find their own way.
no, but what I'm saying is, why did they have to get hurt in the process? That's what I'm saying. Like,
didn't.
if you're trying to deal with your shit, if you're trying to like figure your shit out, just like Jodie, why do you have to have casualties of the shrapnel of your insecurity?
You don't. In an ideal world, you don't. But
Cute, but we're not there. We're in this movie. Thank you very much.
in a
I don't even know why you're trying, because I'm not even directly talking to you. I'm talking about these characters.
I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about P here. And P we could tell he was struggling. He even opened up in a way that I don't think Jodie expected him. You know?
But that's what I'm saying.
Because you could see Jodie was like, oh shit, you know?
Okay, let's transverse this. Let's transverse this. So from Jodie's perspective, we have Jodie's mom that has been holding it down, letting him live there. And yes, I'm saying living. He was 20 years old. He definitely could have moved out by then. Letting him live there. We also have Yvette, who had a child by him. As far as we could see at the start of the movie, she went to an abortion clinic, and it didn't seem like it was the first time that she did that, right? And then we also have Peanut, who is the other baby mama, that also has a kid by Jodie as well. All of these women are having to deal with him trying to figure his shit out. And he can't just figure his shit out, you know, in a way that, you know, just affects him. He needs to do it in an explosive way that hurts people around him.
Yeah.
And then if you go to Sweet Pea, you also have Kim and you also have the mom. So it's cute, OT. It's really cute that you're saying, oh, you know, but he had progress. Like, he literally walked a step while the women had to endure a whole path of the pain.
And then again, they're just painting a picture of how a strong black woman plays a certain role in society.
But that's not fair. Why does she have to be strong? Because the men in this particular case, the men were weak, and they took out their perceived sense of weakness and society's sense of weakness onto these women, and that is fucking unforgivable. See, I didn't want to take it there, but you did.
Well, I wouldn't say unforgivable. I would say that P struggles in a way that is beyond the ordinary sort of way Jodie is struggling, because he doesn't have that sort of support system aside from, you know, Kim. And you could tell that he's not really used to expressing himself, to the point of him opening up to Jodie and saying, I have to leave the house at 9 o'clock and I won't come back until 6 o'clock. So just for them to fucking think that I'm doing something. And that's sad. I felt sad when I heard that.
But then why didn't you actually do something from 9 to 5, sir?
Because it surely can't be as easy as just, hey, I'm going to do something today and I'm going to get myself a job. Yeehaw. Because I assume, even though they didn't mention it, it's quite clear he has a record of some sort.
Uh-huh.
And getting a job, getting an office job is sort of out of his, you know, purview. And I don't know. I just feel like with P, his issues were more deeper than what was laid on. And the fact that he actually opened up to Jodie and Jodie actually fucking being taken aback by it, it's just, I don't know. I just felt sorry for him. I felt sorry for him that he couldn't figure out what he could do. And that's where a lot of people do. You know, you don't know you have skills or whatever. And you would be just, go do a manual job, go do a Macca's, go do something else. And
Macca's is McDonald's for non-Australians.
Maybe it's not that easy.
Okay, friends and lovers of the court, may I produce to you OT? Even though we talk about Oedipus shit, I did not produce him in that way. OT, would you ever treat me or project to me in the way that Sweet Pea or Jodie did?
No.
Well, the court fucking rests, Your Honor.
But we're different people. We come with different issues and baggages.
If you would never treat me that way, why is it acceptable for these characters to do that?
I'm not saying it's acceptable. I'm just saying there's a way to look at them and feel not only anger, but understanding exactly where they're coming from. And knowing, yes, mate, you need to pull your socks up, but there's a whole sort of issue where you have these guys fresh out of prison or whatever, not getting work, or not thinking they're good enough to do anything with their lives.
Okay, but then how about the woman?
Yeah.
How about the plight of...
It's not fair. I didn't say it was fair. I didn't say it was fair.
If you're going to direct your energy somewhere, direct it to the women of this movie.
And they're great. And starting off with Yvette.
Okay, after this whole conversation, now you're going to start with Yvette?
All right. She's given Jodie heaps and heaps and heaps of chances.
Too many.
More than he deserved, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. What did you think of how when she finally, I thought, at least in my mind, in that scene where
the pussy promise?
Yeah, the pussy promise.
If we didn't get censored, I would call this baby boy pussy promise. But I know it's going to get censored, at least by Apple.
But what did you think of sort of that moment where you feel like she's sort of realized that this guy's not going to go there with me. He's not going to give me anything other than pain, sadness in my life.
Well, because really, up until that point, what did Jodie give to her? The child.
Good D.
Sorry?
Good D.
If it's a bad D, is it an ugly kid or?
No, we clearly know that it seemed, or it was said as if he had a D that would satisfy.
And let's make that very clear. OT is the one that said that. Not me.
I thought just a few minutes ago you said something to do with, what was it?
I'm not helping you.
Toxicity? Is that it? Is that the word?
I can't hear you over the sound of my halo, sir.
But, yeah.
But, you know, like, she was self-sufficient. Yvette, she had a job, she had her own car, she had her own place. So there was really nothing that Jodie was adding to her life. Like, yeah, he was picking her up and dropping her off, but that was her car. And I really wanted her to acknowledge her own self-worth. And she definitely got there. What frustrated with like me and what I had qualms with, sir, was that she went back to him. I get that she had that rattling moment with Rodney, which was super fucked up, right? But it just bothered me that she went back to Jodie because nothing was going to change aside from the 2 minutes where he became a grown man, apparently.
Yeah, or maybe she just didn't realize, in as much as Jodie was useless, he did do stuff for her at least.
Like, he did dick for her, yes.
Well, she didn't have to worry about her car being fixed up or whatever because Jodie took care of that. It might sound trivial up until it's not, you know?
Hi, friends and lovers that are ladies. This is Katie from the For Your Reference podcast. You might be enjoying this whisper. If you're not, I will stop if you're nasty. But in any case, I just want to say for all of the females that listen to our podcast, you know, sometimes when you don't really need a man to do something and you tell him to do it just so he feels like he's contributing, that's kind of what was happening here. Okay, we're going to go back to the podcast that has a dick in it. A nice dick. Okay, welcome back, OT.
You're ridiculous.
Unfortunately, because there is this machizo sort of perception of man, you know, in a hetero sort of relationship, women kind of need to make a man feel like a man, unfortunately. And that's kind of what was happening because Yvette did not need him for shit. What Jodie was bringing into her life was outweighed by the drama that he brought into her life. Let's be honest. She didn't have time for his bullshit.
Yeah. And maybe, I don't know. I don't know why she stuck around for too long. But then again, that's love, isn't it? Yeah. So at the end of the day, she did realize that Jodie wasn't a complete bum.
No, but let's talk about it when, well, first of all, I don't know about like other couples. Maybe this is normal, but the fact that they would be outside of their apartment shouting, like, I don't know if that's a normal thing, but you know, like I think even at one point Jodie was shouting about, is it because I hit you? Like, they were not coy about anything, but you know, they'll be fighting outside of the apartment and you know, she'll be talking about how she doesn't need him, right? It was just a very interesting sort of dynamic to have. And why would you go through all of that shit, right? She loved him, right? But if we go to a specific fight that I wanted to focus on, this was after, I think they had bought some tacos and she found the condoms or the 1 out of 3 condom pack. Nice ad, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
If I was a condom company, I would want Taraji P to be sarcastically reading how it's the #1 brand of condom. But this is where they get to a real point, you know, like hers. And even it's so sad. We live in a 1-to-1 society, okay? But it's sad that she accepted that I know you love me, Jodie, but I know you like to fuck other bitches, right? And it's sad that she even had to concede to that point. Like, if that's your arrangement, that's your arrangement. But you could tell that's not what Yvette wanted, but she accepted it because she loves Jodie, right? And then you have that whole sequence, and I don't even know. Like, you know, when you hear someone talking so much shit and you know it's not going on, you're like, shut up, bruv. Like, that was Jodie. He was like, I love you. That's why I tell you the truth. You know, like, and he even admitted that his business, obviously he was getting ladies from that business. Like, that was very clear. You don't go and sell women's clothing just for the integrity of it. Right. And then he was like, I lied to them because I don't care about them. I tell you the truth because I love you. How do you?
No, I tell them the truth because I don't care about them. I lied to you because I care.
Yes. How? What do you feel about that?
Oh, that was just crap. That was complete bullshit. He was just trying to cover his tracks and try and get himself out of that situation the best way he could, or try at least to say whatever he thought Yvette wanted to hear.
Yeah.
So I don't buy it.
I'm pretty sure she would want to hear other things aside from what he said.
No, he just thought he was trying to make that situation stop.
No, but he's very emotionally manipulative.
Yeah.
Because he's like, are you happy now? Are you happy knowing I fucked all of these bitches? Of course she's not happy. Like, I just don't care for that. I don't have the time for that. Whether it's a romantic partner, whether it's a friend, whether it's a family member, I don't have time for your emotionally manipulative bullshit. And that's all he brought to me, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I was like, and even later on when they decided that they were going to, like, you know, shoot Rodney, he was like, oh no, I can't kill him, man. I can't have that on my soul.
And what's wrong with that?
No, but you know what I mean? Like, he talks this big talk. That's the problem. He talks this big machismo talk and he doesn't follow through.
I'd say I'd rather have someone like that who actually realizes the implications of what he would do and what it would mean.
I'd rather have drive-bys with you. I'm sorry, Luther Vandross. I shouldn't have done that.
It's just insane that I found it as a moment of growth, and that's why he thought, fuck, I need to change my life. That moment, him staring at Rodney, and especially when P shot him, nah, man. If you're not changing your life after that, then you know you're complete crap. And
Can
at
I just
least
say- can I
he
just-
pulled himself out of that. And
Can I just say, when Jody got shot and he was like, you could see that the blood was there and he got shot, I was like, yes, this is what I've been waiting for. I've been edging this whole time. Yes. And then we see that he never got shot. And I'm like, well, fuck me. I was so happy. I was really happy that happened. You know, him getting beaten by the kids, him getting in a headlock with Melvin, you know, and him getting shot. I was like, these are the moments. These are the moments that I hold on to. Okay. Let's talk about Yvette's co-worker, who we kind of see very early that she's going to have a thing. She's going to have some sort of thing with Jody.
yeah.
Right? And that later comes into fruition in the movie, where I think the guys, very veiled, but the guys was that he was coming to sell clothes there. At night though?
Yep.
Using Yvette's car. So you know that layer of consciousness is not there.
Oh, yeah, because he feels free to fuck other people with it just being fucking, rather than bringing all the emotions to it.
Which we've already covered, and I'm tired. I'm exhausted and I'm tired. But just going back to that particular scene, okay, yeah, I guess in a stretch you can say that it was very innocent and he was just coming there to sell clothes. I guess, if you want to take it that far. But there were many moments where he was like, I can't do this. But it looked very clear that he could do this.
He could have said no a lot sooner and just walked out if he didn't want to do it. But he lingered. He got tempted. But at least at the end, he really didn't go. He didn't cross that line.
I just don't understand the self-righteousness of him being like, yeah, I didn't do it, but I fucked other bitches, but I didn't fuck her. And it's like, do you want a medal for that, sir? Like, what do you want for that? And there was so much aggression that he had at the thought of Yvette being with someone else. And again, I guess that comes back to, you know, the caveman machismo, like, I can do whatever the fuck I want, but you're pure, you need to stay, you're just my lady, right? It became tiresome to me. I'm like, come on now. Like, literally the best, like, one of the best titles for a movie, Baby Boy.
Yeah.
In every sense of the word. Just absolute baby boy, super loser. Even actually, let's come to a scene. One of the first times that Melvin moves in, right? And he's in the hallway, and then you have Jodie and Sweepy like whispering, being like, oh, you know, he thinks he's all that. And then Melvin's like, what, bitch? He's like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? And Melvin's like, you know, kids like, you think you know what you're talking about. You think you know everything. There you go. That's what he said. He said, you think you know everything. And that's part of the problem. And I definitely agreed with that because they weren't kids anymore. They could definitely take accountability for what they did, but they chose not to. Maybe if Sweet Pea got some more screen time, I would have more heat coming his way. But in regards to Jody, he was fucking shite. Like, in every sense of the word, he was just terrible. There were no redeeming qualities that I felt that he had. You know, even when he got the tinted windows and the rims, is that what they call it? Rims?
Yeah, rims.
For the car. He was making it like it was for Yvette's benefit. No, you did that for yourself.
Yeah, he pimped that out for himself.
And as soon as Yvette made it clear that they were no longer a thing anymore, he called up Peanut. And Peanut's like, fuck you, I'll call you maybe when I want some dick. And you can find your way over here. Right?
Yeah.
It's like people just got sick of his bullshit. And that was the best. Like, that was the best. I was living my best life watching that part of the movie. And even the mum was like, fuck off. Like, I was really enjoying that part of the movie. But, you know, I really don't feel like he grew up at all.
Yeah, he grew out at the end.
Yeah, but give it 5 more, not even 5. Give it like 1 more year. He'll get bored and he'll still be up to the same bullshit.
Do you anticipate a baby boy too?
No, because it's Baby Boy original. No reboot required.
But wow, yeah, interesting though. I think Yvette was definitely a favorite in this.
Oh yeah, she shines so brightly. I feel bad for, like, so much of the emotional pain in this movie was from Yvette's character.
Oh yeah,
and everything that she was going through. I really thought it was interesting that they would swear and not necessarily have sex, but they would kiss and dry hump each other in front of the kid. I thought that was really interesting, but hey, you know, like,
boundaries, mate.
Like a dog is different. Like, having a kid in the room would be weird, right?
Oh, that kid would grow up messed up, mate.
Or maybe it's not weird until they can, like, talk, and that's when it gets weird, right?
Oh no, it's weird.
Well, I wouldn't know. Maybe OT does, but with your 80 babies, I would not know it all. Can I ask a question, OT, that's kind of not related to this movie? So we have Omar Gooding. Who was the biggest star at the time, Omar or Cuba?
Oh, Cuba. Cuba was a blockbuster Oscar-winning star.
Oh, even at this time with the Show Me the Money, was that around this time as well?
No, I think that was way before. Jerry Maguire. I don't know what happened that he did Snow Dogs and then it just all went downhill. But
no, it's 5 now, Dog 5, according to Tracy Jordan from 30 Rock. 5 now, Dog 5.
No, but I really loved Cuba Gooding movies. Like, fuck's sakes, mate. He just epitomized everything that I thought a black superstar should be, at least from a thespian point of view.
He really had his time in the sun, didn't he?
Yeah.
Because he was also in Boys in the Hood, right?
Yeah. Oh, and the fun thing is, Boys in the Hood, you have Cuba, and then here you have Omar. Bloody...
Yeah, John Singleton. He knows talent.
Yeah.
And don't forget Morris Chestnut.
You and your Morris Chestnut.
I'll try and put him in all the places, don't you worry. OT would as well.
No, but in as much as Cuba Gooding Jr. was the biggest star, I felt like Omar is a really good actor as well.
He deserves his props, right?
Yeah, he definitely stands on his own.
Yeah, I really enjoyed him. And again, he reminded me of Leon from Snowfall as well. Like that 2IC that would go further than you would go. But in saying that, Jodie was definitely not Franklin from Snowfall.
Not just a little bit.
Not maybe in the last episode of the recent season.
Oh yeah, he turned into some.
That's not a spoiler. You should definitely watch Snowfall because we will definitely cover it very soon. I definitely want to give some shout outs to the actress that played Kim, Angel Conwell, because she's actually in Bigger, which is a BET show that we watched recently. She does not age.
She pretty much looked the same. Like,
right?
Fucking hell.
And like, wow, good for you, amazing. And it's nice. It's funny when I watch something and I go back to watch an older movie and see them, right? But I think she did a very good job as well. Do you have anything else to say about Snoop Dogg as Rodney?
Oh, he was all right. Like, he's done those roles a dime a dozen. Like, it's just a Snoop Dogg not cameo per se.
Oh, come on. This was more than a cameo.
It was more than a cameo, but he's done all sort of this shit a lot. So I think I'm sort of desensitized by the fact that they throw Snoop Dogg in a movie. So I don't know.
I think he played the role quite well, though. Yeah. Especially because obviously I didn't know. I know I saw Snoop Dogg on the cover, but I didn't realize that he would be not even a love interest, but he would be the guy that was in prison, right? And I really enjoyed him calling Jodie out on his bitch assness. I thought that was quite funny, talking about him still living at home with his mum. So I definitely really enjoyed it. I think Lakeith Stanfield plays Snoop Dogg in Straight Outta Compton, right? And that was interesting. But I don't think this is a spoiler, but I do feel like the world of Rodney existed before the world of Training Day.
Oh.
And I guess let's just leave it there. But I definitely enjoyed seeing Snoop Dogg. He's fun. He's great. You know, he has his Katy Perry collaborations, but we still love him all the same. Ooh, go and fan your undergarments and get yourself a refreshing drink, because we are going to finish off in a segment we call For Your Reference. OT.
It's obvious. I brought it up at the start of the movie. If you just want to watch John Singleton at his best, I'd say Boys in the Hood is where to be. Like, far out. And get a different side of the Gooding brothers.
The Gooding sides. Nice. It's interesting. It's interesting you say that, because a lot of the time there's a lot of things that are popular and sometimes they're not deserved. But I really feel like Boys in the Hood definitely needs to be watched by everyone that has it available to them.
Yeah. Anyone that loves movies, really. If you've got a TV, Boys in the Hood needs to be there being watched.
Right.
And the thing is, I think I didn't realize at the time, because I think I hadn't watched Boys in the Hood yet. And watching Baby Boy now, you could just see a lot of the parallels that you could draw from.
Yeah.
And wow, just do yourself a favor. Watch Boys in the Hood if you haven't.
Before I come up with my references, I forgot to say something. For some reason, I thought that Taraji was going to have a sex scene with Ving Rhames, and I got very disappointed. I got very disappointed that we didn't get that. I knew I wasn't going to get a Snoop Dogg sex scene, but I was very disappointed that I didn't get to see that. So sometimes, even though you wish hard enough, it doesn't happen, friends and lovers. But what we can wish for is some more references if you enjoyed Baby Boy. And I've got 2 references, OT. The first one I've mentioned quite a lot through this episode, and that is Snowfall. FX, mwah, all of the chef kisses and all of the places. And the second movie that I will reference is Set It Off.
Oh.
All of the feels. Amazing. And you know who else is amazing, OT? All of our friends and lovers that continue to listen to us.
Oh.
And if you want to follow us on a day-to-day, not week-to-week basis, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram. We are For Your FPod.
You can write us an email at hello@fypodcast.com.
And we're also on Apple Podcasts, guys. We love you, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.
Bye.